Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Mindful Meditations on Art Jewelry. My name is Allison Barnett and I'm coming to you live from my living room for the 4th week here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. My husband and I opened Patina Gallery here in Santa Fe 20 years ago with the hopes of bringing the best in art jewelry and in contemporary craft to Santa Fe into the world. And we've done that for 20 years and we hope to continue to do so. For those of you who've tuned in for the last few weeks on this live Facebook feed, I really appreciate it. Please comment, please send me emojis, likes, and loves. I really appreciate it while I'm doing a live video. This week's meditation will be about an artist whose name is Lucia Antonelli. And Lucia is a dear friend of mine, and I met Lucia 30 years ago. And one of the things that we share in common is our passion and obsession with beads. Lucia was born in New York and was always an artist, was always doing creative things, drawing and painting and pursuing artistic endeavors. She went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York and she graduated in 1967 with the hopes of doing something in the fashion world, but found that working in fashion apparel in New York really wasn't what she thought it would be. So eventually, in the early 70s, she moved to Los Angeles. And wanting to be an artist and pursue a career in the arts, she pursued works in weaving. She was a stained glass artist. She did newspaper illustration. She did pottery. And then eventually she found herself working in a bead store. And that was really the seed for what was to come. And mind you, this was 50 years ago. Lucia has been a working artist, working mostly with beads for 50 years. She also paints, she cooks, she's Italian, and she pursues creative endeavors. So when this all started 50 years ago, the owner of this bead shop gave her a cabinet filled with beads. And he said, go home, make some jewelry, and have fun with this. And she did, and the pieces sold. So as I said, this really started her life working with beads. And one of the things I love about Lucia is she's very spiritually minded. This is about connecting past, present, and future with her beadwork. And I'm wearing some of her pieces, and there's a whole table of pieces that I'll show you as we begin. But years ago, Lucia discovered these vintage handbags. These are late 19th century, early 20th century handbags. And they're made of tiny little 1 millimeter, mostly French brass beads. Sometimes they have what are called cut steel beads. And she was the first artist to find these handbags, and then if they were in total disrepair, take these handbags apart, and she can get thousands of beads from a single handbag. She then stores them, she cleans them, she stores them all by color. They vary in size. And these pieces that I'm wearing, you can see the use of these little tiny brass beads and then mixed with other gemstones. So like we have blue quartz, we have pyrite, we have tourmaline, and we have aquamarine. These are wrapped necklaces and also wrapped bracelets that I've wrapped. So I think on that note, I'm going to turn the camera and sort of really tell you about these pieces and how she mindfully, creatively, and spontaneously combines these pieces with these French brass beads. So, as we begin, this is a beautiful necklace here on the table, made from antique glass tubes. They're just gorgeous in this beautiful orange color, mixed with these tiny little brass beads. Some of them have a little bit of color, some are more brass in color. These are long and sensuous pieces. They have a beautiful drape on the body. It's because of the size of these pieces that they drape so well. And she strings them on a monofilament, a very strong fishing line, sometimes coated with beeswax. So they have this luscious wrapping quality about them. And when you really start to dissect Lucia's pieces and really look at them closely, she has so much that she incorporates into these pieces. This is one of my favorite ones here. And when you start to really look at this piece, and you start to examine all the beads that she's putting in there. She's got ancient turquoise, ancient shell, beautiful old pieces from India, and maybe from Africa, maybe from China, maybe from Japan, and then a beautiful pendant here that's agate, set in silver. But again, it's that drape of the beads, and then the length of these pieces so that they can be wrapped and tied and worn around their neck. They're very sensuous. When she's starting these pieces, it's a very spontaneous endeavor. She will go to her drawers and she will find all of these wonderful components. This piece has these New Guinea, beautiful carved New Guinea shells mixed with branch coral, antique coral, just stunning pieces. And she'll start to assemble all of these old and ancient pieces. And then the piece will take form and take shape. It's really a peaceful endeavor for Lucia to make these pieces, especially in the chaos of the world. And that's why she's perfect for our mindful meditations, because it is a mindful and meditative process for her to create. And when she's doing this more tribal work, that's the work that I get really excited about. This piece has so many fabulous pieces in it, like the antique jade and these carved shell pieces. This one I think looks like a little bird. And then you've got the branch coral and the turquoise and the layers. They're treasures. And she imbues so much passion and her obsession for these beads and the wonder of these ancient talismans and the history of the beads. And that's the appeal for me. This piece here, she's got fabulous old cut steel beads. And then when she's braiding these beads, they become really luscious and they really want to move. And you can see the sparkle in this, but it's really subtle. She's got this stunning tassel. This actually can come off of the necklace. So you can wear the necklace wrapped around your wrist or with the tassel. She has an old button here with inlaid abalone shell, which is gorgeous. And I love that she has very non-traditional ways of doing her beadwork. She doesn't do what a lot of more typical bead artists use. She has different ways of fastening and ending and finishing her pieces that really add a complexity and a richness to what she's doing. This piece here has a fantastic ancient pendant, silver pendant from India with these beautiful drops and charms. And they move. And then she has the antique French brass beads that she loves to use. That's a constant in her work. Almost every piece has these antique French brass beads. This one has these beautiful yellow and orange antique glass beads, and then beautiful charms that add a spirit and a life. Most of these are from India. And, each one has a story and a history. And for her, it's about bringing all of that to life, the past and the history of these beads and the talismanic quality. And when you wear a piece of hers, they're sexy all at once. They have a beautiful drape. They're luscious. And 50 years she's been creating these magical pieces, and you can really see this in the style and the creativity. This piece is interesting because she's taken a very thick piece of leather and she's wrapped those antique French brass beads in sort of the brass and silver color and the black, which are even more rare. She's wrapped them around and stitched them down. And this is, I guess, really where her past working at FIT comes into play, with working with leather and sewing. And this is an old button closure, and she's got the leather that's then wrapped around this silver piece. Let me see if I can open it up with one hand so you can see, how the closure works on a piece like this. So it's wrapped around, it hooks through, and then it hooks onto the button to finish it. In more recent years, Lucia has been really enjoying doing her own metalwork. So these are beautiful chains that she's fabricating in the studio in gold and in silver. This one has an ammonite center that she's set in gold, a beautiful old and ancient shell. And then it's layered. You can wear it with this other necklace where she's done these beautiful, I don't know if we can get the focus on the camera here, but these are heated reticulated silver components with gold charms and drops, and then a pair of gold earrings with a beautiful wire. You can see that everything is hand done, and I love that aspect of Lucia's work and all of our artists in the gallery. Being that they were done by hand is what matters most. Nothing is commercially made. Everything has this spirit to it, and the soul of the artist comes through these pieces, and they're just so beautiful. This is a new pair of earrings where she's using a beautiful freshwater pearl that's sort of a purple sort of eggplant color, and then she has the drop of the beautiful garnets and the pearls. Let me see if I can hold it up here so you can see her use of the gold chain and the stones. So you have this beautiful, very sexy but ancient feeling to these earrings. And then a few years ago, we had a show with Lucia called Boogie Woogie. And these earrings are from that show where she was taking very old Bakelite and gaming pieces and making jewelry from them. And even the bracelet that I have on, this was one of the pieces from that show. Not the jade one, but this one, where she has the old Bakelite pieces, and she's wonderful braids of these antique French brass beads mixed in with the Bakelite. And just her use of taking the Bakelite and making this clasp is really something extraordinary. Again, finishing it with these sort of melon-shaped beads, and just the way she's tucked that other smaller, I believe it's carnelian, into this melon shape, and then all of these braids. They're just really rich and complex and compelling. And I'm going to turn it back to myself for a moment, because I am wearing one of my favorite pieces from the Boogie Woogie exhibition. And again, a leather band that she's wrapped in the French brass beads, and then having the most fun in spirit with all of these components. The old glass, these fabulous tubes of ancient glass, and then these the drop with the gaming pieces, the Bakelite, and the Bakelite sort of turquoise color, and such a spirit and such fun. And then these earrings that I have on, again, I think they call them apple juice Bakelite, and having just a great time in the components and the fall of them and the play of them, sometimes even the jingle of them. They're very light in weight. And just the spirit of what she's doing. I love that spontaneousness, that she doesn't have really a plan for the piece. They just come alive in the process of making. There's another piece here. I'm going to put the camera back for a moment. A few years ago, I had an event in my life, and I also have a Chinese daughter. So Lucia made this very special piece for me, and it's filled with ancient Chinese components. It has antique jade and this antique centerpiece, and I love this treasure necklace, and I wear it often. I can wrap it 3 or 4 times around my neck, and for me it's a really symbolic piece because I have a Chinese daughter who I adopted 15 years ago, and I was having a very important event in my life. And one of the things I was talking with Lucia about before doing this live video is how she loves to take people's heirlooms. And if you have beautiful things at home that are sitting in a drawer and you don't know what to do with them, Lucia would love nothing more than to take your elements and make you something really extraordinary and special. And this is one of my most coveted necklaces. It really holds a lot of meaning for me because she made it, and she made it with such love and such intention, and in a space that really, it just means the world to me. So if you have anything like that at home, think about Lucia and the use of these materials. She would love it. And the last piece that I want to show you that I have draped, because you really have to see the drape of her pieces, is this necklace here. So this has a wonderful old snake that it's a reproduction that she's done from a very old snake, and it's been cast in silver. But she's taken these fabulous old antique chains, mixed with pearls, mixed with her some of her French brass beads. But you can see how these drape and hang, and they really make a statement on. So you've got this fabulous center piece as a pendant, and then the drape of all of these beautiful old, everything has to be really old unless she's making it and it's new. So it really just tells a rich story about who Lucia is when you look at the breadth of work on the table, and more so even on our website. If you go to patina-gallery.com, you'll get to see all of these beautiful pieces. On the website, we have a great team at Patina. Everyone's working remotely and writing beautiful descriptions and taking beautiful photographs of these pieces, so you really get a sense of who Lucia is in the 50 years of making art jewelry. And I hope that you will go to the website and tune into Facebook and on social media, Instagram, and visit us there and really see what Lucia is doing. And I really appreciate your tuning in today. I can see a lot of people joined the live video today, including Lucia and old friends. And please tune in next week. I'll be going live once again. we're going to continue this effort because it really is great to share this jewelry with you. Next week, we're going to bring the works of Jeff and Susan Wise to you. Again, pioneers like Lucia and like the artists who I've spoken about before. Pioneers in this world of art jewelry. Again, making everything by hand. So tune in next week for Jeff and Susan Wise. And thank you for watching today as we explored the work of Lucia Antonelli, one of the great spiritual and wonderful jewelry makers of the 21st century. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.